Hello everyone, this is Jonathan at the Piano Lesson, back for another installment. Pretty excited about this one. This is a very serious lesson that you won't find anywhere else. And if you're not interested, stick around anyway because we're going to have pound cake afterwards, so you'll have something to eat. Anyway, what I like to do is not just teach people what they need to learn, but also how to learn, okay? And my mother used to say, if you're going to learn, do one thing at a time. Do one thing at a time. And it's hard to do that because when you're learning something, there are so many different aspects intertwined into something. It's hard to tease them apart. So what you want a teacher for is someone to kind of, take apart what you're trying to learn, show you the various aspects of it, and then all kind of put it together. Now, one of my favorite things to talk about are scales and particularly tetrachords. And if you're going to play those, you need to, there's a physical aspect for the keyboard, right? Practical aspect that only piano players really need to know. If you're playing violin, you have your own physical things that you need to do. But piano players, we have things that are unique to our instrument. But then there are just universal musical concepts that you need to understand. And being able to learn those things in packages of information that are meaningful and are also manageable. So I like to learn musical information in terms, generally speaking, in terms of four notes, in terms of what we call tetrachords. And any more than that, it becomes unwieldy and frankly not always musical. And if there are less than four notes, well then, once again, that's not enough information really to work with, usually. So as a general rule, we're talking, groups of four notes. Now, if you're going to learn a scale, you have to know what notes to play, okay? And you have to know what fingers to use. So if you're learning a major scale, the first four notes of the major scale, that's the major tetrachord, right? Whole step, half step, right? And that applies to any scale, any major scale. There are 12 major scales, and 3 of those major scales can be spelled in more than one way. They're referred to as enharmonic. And there are rules to learn the fingering, okay? And typically, if a scale starts in a white key, we're just talking about the right hand now, you would use one set of fingering, and if it starts with a black key, you'd use another set of fingerings. Now, that's not set in stone, okay, because, anything's possible, and in the real world, in the heat of battle, you need to do other things. Okay, we understand that, but you also need to have a default position so that, in fact, you don't these come automatically, and you don't have to think about them as much. And the scales that we think actually that are easier, typically the ones that start on the white keys and the ones with the thumbs, that tends to be the most difficult in some respects because we have to deal with the thumb. And the thumb is really not a finger, right? It's an opposable thumb, and it kind of moves in an odd way. And there's a tendency to use it improperly. We kind of like smash it with our arm, right? Or the thumb can be overly heavy sounding, and we play too loud. But in either case, let's first talk about the musical aspect. So I'm going to switch over to our spy cam here, and again, let's just take a major tetrachord. All right, so the formula is whole step, half step, right? That's the formula. So C, D, E, F, right? That's our whole step, and a half step. A whole step being 2 half steps, okay? Right, there's our half step, 2 keys that are next to one another. So major tetrachords, starting on white keys, typically we start with the thumb. And when you get to the 4th note, usually our thumb needs to be underneath the hand, okay? So I think it's useful to practice in this manner, right? Then you take the next major tetrachord and the next major tetrachord. Notice I'm going in a circle of fifths. Right now, I'm going by fifths. I'm up to F sharp now. I'm going to have to use a different finger. I'm going to use the second finger, and my thumb is underneath the hand, F sharp or G flat, then C sharp or D flat. Again, my thumb's underneath the hand, thumb taking the white key, right? And then D flat to A flat, starting with the middle finger, right? And then E flat up a fifth, and then up a fifth again. Now notice the starting fingers I'm using, and now we're back to a white key. And in this instance, I'm going to put the thumb under the hand, ready to play the C, but I'm not going to play it. Typically, we do that. Now, how do you remember what finger to start with? Well, if it's a white key, you start with your thumb. All right, that's the general rule. If it's not a white key, then we're not going to start with the thumb. We're going to start with what we call our corresponding fingers. These are the corresponding fingers that go with these keys, and these are the corresponding fingers that go with those keys. So if you're starting on this note, start with your second finger. If you're starting on this note, start with your third finger. If you're starting likewise 2, 3, 4, those are your starting fingers, and you end with the same finger that you're starting on. So 2. I did the whole scale, starting on 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3. All right. Do you have to do that in real life? Not always, no. But it's not a bad habit to get into, because if I could start with B flat, I could start with 3, or I could start with 2. But the thing is, if you're descending and you end on 2, you're going to run out of fingers, or 3. You want to end on 4, so you don't run out of fingers. Okay. So but taking them in these small chunks, okay, and being able to take any of these little groups, right? Now I'm just jumping around, and when I cross, if I start with 3, I cross with 2. So how do you know what finger to cross with? Well, again, you're not going to cross with the same finger. All right. If I start with 4, I'm going to cross with 3. If I start with 3, I'm going to cross with 2. If I start with 2, I'm going to cross with, in this instance, 2 here. That's the only case where I'm actually crossing with 2 there. Crossing 2 here, 3, 3. So those crosses are, but taking these little groups, okay? And if you can do major, well, then you can probably do minor. So just take one note and change it. Thumb goes under, going up a fifth, going up a fifth. Natural, going up a fifth, going up a fifth, going up a fifth, going up a fifth. Now here we have the minor scale, same starting finger. Right before, what did we do before? Right, that was the major. Minor is, because the whole scale is, that's harmonic minor, but so that's changed. Going up a fifth, minor. That stays the same, going up a fifth. All right, that one's pretty close because that's major. This is minor. So some of them are pretty close, really. All right, going up a fifth again. In this instance, major is this. Right, minor, no. Minor is that's major, minor. So it is actually the same. Going up a fifth again, and starting with a 4. Right, major was this. Right? And then we have right. That's the complete scale. We'll get to that, the rest of that, in a second. B flat, and then F minor. And remember, I'm putting the thumb under the hand to get ready for the C, but minor and major are very, very similar. So that's the minor tetrachord, right? And the pattern there, of course, is different. It is whole, half, whole, right? So let's just say C, D, E flat, F. Okay, so the intervals between those, right? Right. So you have a major tetrachord and you have a minor tetrachord. All right. Now, if you want the complete major scale, well, that's what do? You just combine two major tetrachords. Okay. So C, D, E, F, and G, A, B, C. Those are both major tetrachords, and you combine those, right? And you get the entire major scale. Okay. That's why it's nice to practice in terms of tetrachords, because you just, right? And then the next aspect of the tetrachord, now this is what we didn't quite discuss, the next fingering, 1, 2, 3, 1, then 2, 3, 4. Now if I'm going to end, I'd end with the pinky. If I'm going to keep going up, I'd go 2, 3, 4, 1. So you can practice two sets of fingerings. You can practice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's if you're starting on G, or 2, 3, 4, 1 if you're doing 2 octaves, or 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So you see we've done 3 sets of fingerings now. This is the first set. This is the second set. This is the third set. All right? All on major scales. Now if we go up a fifth again, here's the first set. Right? That's if you're starting the scale. This tetrachord is the last 4 notes of the D major scale. So another viable fingering, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like we practiced before, or 2, 3, 4, 1. Same with the G, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? All right? Breaking it down in terms of that. The next tetrachord, again, major, 1, 2, 3, 1, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 1. That's if you're playing on an A. You follow me? You following me, guys? All right. 3 sets of fingerings to learn for white key scales. Going up a fifth. You could do this. That's if you're starting on the E. But if you're playing A, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 1 if you're going up another octave, right? For the A. Up a fifth again, or 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 1. That's another possibility. Going up a fifth again, well, we're up to the F sharp. That's the first group, right? The F sharp is 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like this. Or 2, 3, 4, 1, right? Or, could you do 1, 2, 3, 4? You could, right? But the problem with that fingering, 1, 2, 3. You could do that. The problem is, if you call that a problem, is that the thumb is lower in the hand and shorter, right? And typically we don't, use it as a first option. If your thumb is real long, then it's a lot easier. And there are people like Rachmaninoff who had long thumbs. 2, 3, 1, 2, right? That's, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? Or really only 2 choices there. Or what we did earlier. Actually, come to think of it, this fingering, 2, 3, 1, 2, and this, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 2, 3, 1, 2 is really the only choice we have there. I don't think you'd want to do 1, 2, 3, 1. It's kind of atypical. and then up a fifth again, right? That 3, 4, 1, 2, right? Or if you're doing the A flat, there's really only one choice there. 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3. There's really only one choice there. 4, 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. Really only one choice there. Again, if you're just doing a short segment, I could start on 3 or I could start on 2, but 4 is a good default fingering. And then the major 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1 if you're going up another octave, or 1, 2, 3, 4 just to end. But C major, right? C major, this is this group of notes. This is the first 4 notes of the C scale. It's also the last 4 notes of the F scale. That's my point. So depending on what scale you're playing, you're gonna change your fingering. If you're gonna play more than 1 octave, you'd use the same fingering no matter what. If you're playing just 1 octave, you might just end on 4, right? But you wouldn't use that fingering if you're doing C major. I mean, then you're going to probably run into trouble. It is possible to do all the scales with the same fingers. You could go 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't necessarily even need to use the thumb. You know, especially if you practice enough. You could play these all with 1 finger also. That's a very useful way to practice. And if you can't do that with every scale, then you need to be able to do that because, you know, G major, D major, right? Can you do it just with 1 finger, you know? That's actually a pretty cool way to practice scales because, again, you're removing a level of complexity, right? So getting back to what I was originally talking about, learning one thing at a time. You want to learn the notes first, then you want to learn the fingerings. If you try to learn the fingerings and the notes at the same time, it could be a major train wreck. And you might inadvertently end up ingraining the wrong fingers. And it's very hard to unlearn stuff. So I would first try to learn the notes, and then I would learn the notes just with 1 finger. If you played them with your nose, that would be fine too. You know, I mean, I'm kind of half kidding, but you can play the scale. You know, and of course, we're just focusing on the right hand right now. You know, there's the left hand we have to deal with. But let's talk about the second half of the minor scale. Now, there's 3 minor scales. Typically, though, you really do want to learn the harmonic minor first. And the reason you want to learn the harmonic minor first, even though you'll probably never play the harmonic minor scale, is because it's the foundation of the notes in any minor key. You know, it's called harmonic minor because it has a raised 7th. You take the relative minor, raise the 7th note a half step, and that note that you raise, that accidental, is called an artificial scale. All right, that's the 2 distinctions. You have natural meaning all the notes are in the key signature. Doesn't mean that there's no sharps or flats. It just means that all the notes in the minor key are exactly the same as the notes in the major key. So you're not changing anything. If you change something, then it comes under the rubric of artificial scale. So there's 1 note in this instance that you're changing that you ordinarily would not find in the key signature. It's written as an accidental. That's also a really easy way to tell the minor key if you're reading sheet music, because you can't tell by the key signature, but you can tell by the accidentals. And you can, if you see, like if you're in the key of A minor and you see a whole bunch of G sharps, you probably can be sure, even though there's no sharps or flats in the key signature, you can be assured that you're in a minor key. And of course, if it starts on an A and ends on an A, it's probably an A, right, an A minor. But the other tetrachord that you need to know to do this, because we've just been doing major tetrachords right now, is the harmonic tetrachord. And the harmonic tetrachord, C, D flat, E natural, F. So what happened there? Well, we got a half step here, and we have a half step here, right? There are 2 half steps now, but this guy here, this is an augmented second. Why augmented? Well, because it's 3 half steps or 1.5 steps. All right. So D or to E flat is a whole step, and then if you go up one more, if you take a major second and you raise it a half step, it's called augmented, and that is the harmonic. That's the harmonic minor tetrachord. Okay, and that's the one that you really kind of need to practice. So I kept mentioning A minor, but since I happen to be doing right, this tetrachord happens to be the last 4 notes of the F minor scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and again, you can end with 4 if it's 1 octave, or cross the thumb under. But that's the other one you need to really get good at. Okay, and it's just 1 note. It's 1 note different from the major. Here's the major. Here is the harmonic. All right, so super easy, right? Just take something. In other words, the way you learn, the way one should learn, I think, the best way to learn is take something you already know, and build on that. So you have a major tetrachord, right? And rather than thinking of it, it's half whole, blah 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 blah, just think, hey, just take the second note in the major tetrachord and just lower it a half step. You got harmonic. Super easy. Okay, so major, harmonic. All right, easy. Major, harmonic. Right? Yeah, and just play games like that. Jump around the keyboard. Major, harmonic. All right. Now, guess what? If you end whatever note you end on, okay, right? I mean, that's the tonic of the key. So that I did that wrong. That was a weird scale, but minor, harmonic, right? And the fingering is going to be very, very similar. You're not going to have to necessarily learn new fingerings, okay? But just for the sake of it, let's kind of just look at this for a moment. So minor, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Now, okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That would be the same as major, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it's the same fingering that we used in the major, or 2, 3, 4, 1 for going up another octave, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's going up another octave. So if I do a harmonic minor, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? So there's 2 starting on a white key, right? Going up a fifth. Here's your major. Here's the harmonic. All right? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 2, 3, 4, 1. Same thing, same idea. Major, harmonic. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? See, I just grabbed that group. All right? I didn't even think about the individual notes necessarily. You have a perfect fourth, and then in between, this is A, B flat, C sharp, D. You have your augmented. See, I'm not calling this D flat, right? I'm calling it C sharp because it's a step. And I'm not calling this A sharp, I'm calling it B flat because we're going in alphabetical order. And let me just take a minute and notate that, because this is how you learn to read music also easily, right? This is the music literacy, okay? People can't read music and sight read music because they don't understand the grammar of music. Steps, all space line. That's pretty much every scale, every tetrachord you're ever going to play, right? But in this instance, let's say this is flat, right? And this is sharp, but they're all basically some kind of step. They're all some kind of step. This is that's your half step, right? And this, in this instance, this is your half step, and this is the augmented. But it's space line. They're all some kind of a step, right? That's how you notate it. and we'll go. So that was A. That was A. Then E. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. If you're going to practice scales, practice in groups of 4, and practice with the fingers that you need to use. And I don't care how well you think you know your scales. I dare you to grab one of these harmonic tetrachords starting with 2, 3, 4, 5 and see how well you do. Or just play major, and harmonic, right? That's, starting on F sharp. Now, this is a little bit of a different problem. That is going to present a different fingering. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or I ended on 3. Maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe I should start on 3. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think that's a better idea. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. As opposed to, major, we'd go 2, 3, 4. Minor, we go 3, 3, 4. Right? That's a whole different ball game. Minor, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if you're going to practice that, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, right? Not different fingers. You could do that, but 3, 1, 2, 3. That would be the most useful. C sharp. That's the C sharp harmonic tetrachord, and then up a fifth again. So 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 1 I use. 3, 4, 1. Or 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then up a fifth from 3, 1, 2, 3. See the similarities? If you go through these, these patterns happen over and over and over again. I don't have time to go through them all. We're almost out of time, but you see where I'm headed. Now, if you want to go hear me play, first Friday of the month, I'll be at Marco's Cafe in Multnomah Village. Great place, great service, fantastic service. Maybe the best in Portland. Otherwise, drop me a line, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Jonathan Eder signing off at the piano lesson. Until next time, au revoir.